just a brief snapshot of the history of solidarity and its place in modern South Africa.
Yes. Well, 1902 was, of course, a very important date because it was the end of the Anglo-Boer War, and a lot of Afrikaners had to leave their farms because of the scorched earth policy, and they had to go to mines. And so there they formed a trade union. At that stage, it was called the Transvaal Miners Association. So we were born thus as a result of the Anglo-Boer War. And at that stage, we were joined by English immigrants. That was an interesting mix. But that time of the history of South Africa was quite an important time because Afrikaners then had to make a choice. The first choice that they had to make is whether they want to become English subjects and become part of the empire. That was the easier route. The other choice that they had to make was maybe they must go on the route of self-help. And they've decided in 1902 to go the route of self-help. Now, our organization was born out of that idea of self-help, but then, of course, it was the South African Women Organization, the Suid-Afrikaanse Vroue Federation was born then, and a lot of self-help institutions. So our birth is quite important to understand our DNA. Then we went through all the different crises. That is crisis number one. The second big crisis, of course, was the First World War. And there, Afrikaners had to stand up after the World War and the rebellion. And there they started the so-called Help Mekaar movement. And then the third big crisis was, of course, the 1930s and the economic crisis that followed that. And there was also a decision on rather to go the route of self-help rather than the route of state help. And that was a period between republics. That's a period after the Boer republics, but before the big republic of 1961. And that period of between republics is quite a dynamic period. And I think we can do much more reading and learning about that stage where Afrikaners said that we will take self-responsibility and we will build a future at this stage, in the tension with the state. Now, Solidarity took from that, and we said to ourselves that yes, we want to go on the route of self-responsibility. So in 1997, Flip Buys became the General Secretary of the then Mine Workers Union, and a couple of our guys started at that stage as well. I started also in 1997. Kali Kriel started then. Henk Scalakamp, the chief executive of our investment company today, started then, and we were a young bunch of guys with, and we said that let's start a movement, not only a trade union. And from 1997, we started with the thinking of a movement, not only a trade union. We used the trade union as a vehicle to start a big movement. In 2001, we launched then Solidarity. We've changed our name to Solidarity, and we said that let's start at fresh with new ideas. It's actually not that new. We only went back to our DNA. So what's logic for us? And that is to say that we must take self-responsibility. And we started then institutions, because that's the power of self-responsibility, is vibrant institutions that's sustainable, because you work then through your institutions. That is why community self-help is so important and so strong. Individual self-help is a bit something else, but you can't build a technical college as an individual. So we started in institutions. We first started to build Solidarity again to make it strong, so that we make sure that we have a strong base. And then we've launched the Helping Hand, the Solidarity Helping Hand. We said that let's start there, and we started with tertiary, with study aid, etc. Then we've started with Soltech on a very, very small scale. Then AfriForum we've launched thereafter, then academia, the university, etc., etc. Nowadays, there's round about 25 different smaller and bigger institutions within the biggest Solidarity movement, including, of course, Marula Media. That's now the biggest Afrikaans online media company, bigger than the old Naspers, and Netwerk 24. So we have a powerful movement of a network of self-help institutions.